brain type, and I'll show them like, hey, here's what you're getting. You know, you get 5% of your vitamin D for the last 30 years. Do you expect that you don't have a vitamin D deficiency? You know, and they're like, oh, well, my doctor told me to take vitamin D and I just forgot. You know, it's like this helps create awareness of where the gaps could be and why they might not feel good. Look at the B vitamins, right? And like the minerals. No surprise that a person like this, even though they're eating a healthy diet, this was probably like Whole30. They're not feeling well. Okay, in terms of malabsorbing, right? Let's talk about celiac for a second. You know, that's close to my heart. Celiac disease, I want you to kind of zoom in on this. It's associated with attention deficit disorder, depression, chronic fatigue, joint pain, anemia, migraines, infertility, failure to thrive, delayed puberty, tooth problems, right? ADD and depression are going to walk in your office before they walk into the primary care. So keep your eyes out. And what I want you to see is that celiac disease, read this part. Classic celiac disease characterized by mild to severe gastrointestinal symptoms is less common than non-classic celiac disease, which is characterized by the absence of gastrointestinal symptoms. So it's more likely that somebody's going to come into your office with depression and ADD and have celiac than it is someone will come in with IBS and have celiac. Does that make sense? That was mind-blowing to me when I learned it. It should be mind-blowing to you guys because that's not what we're told, particularly in the media. The other thing is you can be on a gluten-free diet and still be completely nutrient deficient. Most gluten-free diets are really low in things like iron and calcium and vitamin D. So cool, your patient like removes gluten, that's maybe a third of the battle. Now we have to replete them of all the nutrients they're low in and make sure that their gluten-free diet is actually healthy. You'd be also shocked at like the number of things that gluten is in. Okay, just a plug for good testing. Like there's a thing called methylmalonic acid, which is actually how you measure a B12 deficiency. You don't check serum B12, you check methylmalonic acid. If you have questions, or if your doctor checked your serum B12, call me, we'll go through it. Okay, so 3 cases, right? First lady has anxiety. Remember, she was in the ER, belly pain, panic attacks. Nobody knew what was going on. We ordered her a food allergy test. Food allergies, not food sensitivities. They're different. We can talk about that a different day. Food allergies. Second guy, depression, weightlifter, doesn't like to cook, right? Had a brain injury. We ordered him a hair heavy metals test. Now, did I order a lot more for these people? Yes, but these will be important. Severe PMS, we started this person on P5P, which is pyridoxal 5-phosphate, which is a phosphorylated version of B6, the #1 deficiency in the US, and magnesium. We also started treating their gut to modify their estrobolome because estrogen dominance is often at the root of PMS and PMDD. So what was it? This person had an egg allergy. Did you know that stomach pain and anxiety are symptoms of anaphylaxis? How many of you knew this? None. Okay, because we all watch Grey's Anatomy, and when someone's having anaphylaxis, they're like, oh my God, you stab them with the EpiPen. It's very dramatic and makes for interesting TV. Unfortunately, mild anaphylaxis can go unchecked for years before it gets to the point where it's severe enough to require that sort of emergency care. And in the meantime, you just have like neurologic symptoms like anxiety, apprehension, sense of impending doom. How many of you have counseled a client like this? Maybe ask them what they ate before they came in your office that day. If it was an egg sandwich, you should be like, send them over to me. Okay, and again, you guys will have this list, but start to keep in mind, panic attacks do not have to have a root just in like a psychological dysfunction. It can be very physiological. And part of that is because part of an anaphylactic reaction is histamine release. Histamine makes things leaky and changes your ventilation threshold. It makes you more likely to hyperventilate. So when you're having an allergic reaction, you're more likely to hyperventilate and get pushed into an anxiety attack. Our weightlifting guy who doesn't like to cook was eating tons of tuna fish because all you have to do is mix it up with mayo and you're good to go. He had high levels of mercury, which is like crazy. I didn't think that was very common. I honestly didn't think I would see this very often in my clinical career. And I do see it enough, particularly in people who have very severe mental health issues and they're cutting, they have suicidal ideation, and you're thinking, okay, they're not getting better. What else is going on? It's worth checking hair. I think it's $65. You can actually pick up high mercury in the hair. So again, these are, if they're not otherwise noted, these are from Up to Date, which is basically like Dr. Wikipedia. You have to pay for it. It's amazing. It should be free. But so hallmark features: change in personality, anxiety, shyness, like pathologic shyness, what? Irritability, insomnia, memory loss, depression, fatigue. Okay, how many of these people do you see? Hang on a second. Okay, this last lady, PMDD. This is a study that studied magnesium and B6 intervention for people with severe PMS. You'll see that their scores went down. Before the intervention, their PMS score was around 40. After the intervention, it went down by more than half. And they didn't even use the right dose of magnesium. They probably used about a quarter of the magnesium that they should have been. So you can imagine that these results may have been even more dramatic if they had used the right dose of magnesium. This is often a problem with natural medicine research, is that people who are not experts in natural medicine or nutrition are doing research on it. And so they'll use like 200 milligrams of magnesium when they should have been using 6. And so then it looks like the effect is less significant than it actually is. And then, hang on one second, guys, just take a look while we're waiting for this next page to load of all of the other symptoms. Never mind. The other thing, so estrobolome, you heard me mention this crazy word that means like your estrogen dominance, right? And why we treat the gut. So there are certain bugs in your gut. Let's back up for a second. You detox your estrogen every single day. There's estrogen in your bloodstream. It runs through your liver. Your liver will put it through phase 1, phase 2 conjugation, bind it into bile, store it in your gallbladder. It's excreted into the digestive tract where it binds to fiber, moves out of the body as stool. Unless you have a really unhealthy microbiome. And some of those bugs will free up that estrogen and it will recirculate. It gets resorbed through your colonic membrane back into your bloodstream. And then you get a buildup of estrogen. And so you get estrogen dominant symptoms. This sounded kind of like woo to me. When somebody first started talking about estrogen dominance and how it recirculates, I was like, really? And then I got into the physiology and the research and I was like, oh, this is truly a thing. So treating someone's gut can help to treat all of their gynecological issues and mood issues surrounding their period. So I often look at the gut in people who have PMS and PMDD. We're almost done. I don't know why this is so slow. So who benefits from functional medicine? I'm going to give you guys this list and I want you to like print out or keep it somewhere. Any of these issues should be a red flag to you that this person has other root cause things going on that are not only inhibiting their recovery from their mental emotional issues that they're seeing you for, right, but are creating havoc in their bodies. Good tests to ask a doctor for, right? If you have a client who's struggling and they're not getting better, depending on the symptoms, they can bring this test list into their primary and ask them for these. The other thing they can do, always just have them call me. If you even suspect, I do free 15-minute consults. Like they can call me for free. And I can even say, okay, you've had your thyroid tested 6 months ago and like you have no symptoms of allergies. I don't know that you need total immunoglobulins. Like ask your doc for these 3 things. Get back to me in a couple weeks. Which is often what I do with people, because then we can really have evidence-based medicine after that. We know what's going on.